newsworthy items of the depth chart is at running back. As you guys can see here on the screen, the Broncos kind of did a cop-out. They kind of took the easy way out here. They didn't name a starter. They basically put Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay as co-starters. Zach, I want to just start out with what that means to you. And really, is this simply, did Gordon do enough to earn that first and foremost? No. Or is it nominal in the sense that they're trying to justify the money? And what does it say to Phillip Lindsay? What's the message to Phillip?
First of all, am I the only one? I cannot be the only one who hates the idea of co-starters. I just think it's lazy from a football team or from a depth chart purpose to not just list in order. It seems like they cut out fourth string and just 1, 2, and 3 now. I hate the idea of co-starters, but in this case, a tie is a win for Phillip Lindsay. If a guy making $750,000 can be in a 1A, 1B timeshare, if he's tied and a co-starter with a guy making $8 million, that's a win for the cheaper guy, the hungrier guy, the more motivated guy. Phillip Lindsay had an excellent, fantastic training camp. Melvin Gordon was kind of just there. He had a rib injury. He was, he looked good every now and then. He caught some passes. But for $8 million, Chad, you have a guy making, less than an eighth of that, outperforming you. I think that's a huge win for Lindsay. And like we've been saying the entire offseason, he will be your starting running back on most occasions. It's going to be very game plan specific as to how they tried out the running backs, but Lindsay is the better player. He will have more explosive plays. And by the end of the year, there is no contest or comparison as to who is the better Broncos running back.
I view this as a situation where the Broncos recognized both internally as far as locker room optics and externally, as far as what it means to media and fans, they had to tread lightly. They wanted to make Melvin Gordon the starter, regardless of what shook out in training camp, even though Phillip Lindsay outplayed Melvin Gordon in training camp. And again, it's training camp. So, jobs are won and lost, but it's not the be-all, end-all. If you're already an established starter, these guys know how to pace themselves. They know kind of how to roll with the punches with regard to training camp and kind of conserve their energy. That was definitely the MO for Melvin Gordon. Meanwhile, Phillip Lindsay, he took every touch, every snap, every time he was on the field, he was trying to send a message. So on one hand, I do agree with you, Zach, that it's a triumph in a sense that Lindsay maintained at least a co-starter role. But at the same time, I think it's a cop-out from the team in terms of they didn't want to upset the apple cart internally. They didn't want the storylines to come out in the media that Melvin Gordon came in without any kind of game action, any kind of exposure to outside competition. He unseats not just the incumbent starting running back, Zach, but a team leader, Phillip Lindsay, the Colorado kid himself, back-to-back 1,000. I mean, how many running backs rush for 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons are still well in their prime years as a player?
Barely.
And they get basically demoted. How often? I mean, I'm trying to think. When's the last time that happened? I'm sure there's some occasion out there, some football historian can point out to me, but if you have to really think about it, you get my point. And so I see this more, Zach, as a cop-out in terms of the Broncos were hell-bent to make Melvin Gordon the starter, and they did this, putting Lindsay here as a co-starter, simply to avoid controversy, probably mostly within their own locker room, because Lindsay's a leader.